Welcome to Prophets of Babel with your host Janine. We are reading the Torah of Moses from the plates of brass, the Third Sefer of Moses, also known as the Book of Moses, starting at chapter 34. Enjoy. Chapter 34, the veils. And it came to pass that Moses and Zipporah came down from the mount of Ha Elohim with the two tables of testimony in the hands of Moses. And when they came down from the mount, Moses and Zipporah did not see that the skin of their faces shone after they did talk with Yahweh, they being in the presence. And it came to pass that when Aaron and Miriam and all of Israel saw Moses and Zipporah, behold, the skin of their faces shone, and they were afraid to come nigh them. And Zipporah called unto them, and Aaron and Miriam and all the rulers of the congregation returned unto them, and Moses and Zipporah talked with them. And it came to pass that afterwards all of Israel came nigh, and Aaron and Miriam gave Israel in mitzvah all that Yahweh had spoken with Moses and Zipporah in the mount of Ha Elohim. And Moses and Zipporah did keep the veils on their faces until Aaron and Miriam were done speaking unto Israel. And when Moses and Zipporah went in the tabernacle before Yahweh to speak with him, they took the veils off until they came out. And when they came out, they did speak with Aaron and Miriam, teaching them that which they should say unto Israel, even that which they were commanded. And when Israel saw the faces of Moses and Zipporah, that the skin of their faces shone, they were sore afraid. And so it was that Moses and Zipporah put the veils upon their face again until they went in to speak with Yahweh, for Israel could not stand it. And it came to pass that because there were those that would not hearken unto Aaron and Miriam, that Moses and Zipporah gathered all of the congregation of Israel together, and they spake unto them, saying, These are the words that Yahweh hath instructed that ye should do. And Moses and Zipporah rehearsed all that which Yahweh had told them unto Israel, but the people understood it not. And thus it was given unto them as the law of carnal commandments. Chapter 35, the tabernacle. And it came to pass that Moses spake unto all the congregation of Israel, saying, This is the thing which Yahweh commanded, saying, Take ye from among you an offering unto Yahweh. Whosoever is of a willing heart, let them bring it, an offering to Yahweh of gold and silver and brass and blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goats' hair and rams' skins dyed red and badger skins and shittim wood and oil for the light and spices for anointing oil and for the sweet incense and ox stones and stones to be set for the ephod and for the breastplate. And every one that is wise hearted among you shall come and make all that Yahweh hath instructed, the tabernacle, a tent, and covering with taches and boards, bars, pillars and sockets, the ark and the staves thereof with the mercy seat, and the veil of the covering, the table, the staves, and all the vessels, and the showbread, the candlestick also for the light, and the furniture and lamps with the oil for the light, and the incense altar, and the staves, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and hanging for the door at the entering in of the tabernacle, the altar of burnt offerings with a brazen grate, staves, and all the vessels, the laver and its stand, the hangings of the court, the pillars and their sockets, the hangings of the door of the court, and the pins of the tabernacle and the pins of the court, and their cords, the clothes of service to do the service in the holy place, the holy garments of Aaron, for Aaron, the priest, and the garments of his sons to minister in the office of the priest, the clothes of service to do service in the altar of the orchards, the holy garments for Miriam, the priestess, and garments for her daughters to minister in the office of the priestess. And all the congregation of Israel departed from the presence of Moses and Zipporah. And it came to pass that they came, every one whose heart stirred them up, and every one whom his spirit made willing. And they brought the offerings to Yahweh, to the work of the tabernacle of the congregation, and for all of his service, and for the holy garments. And they came, both men and women, as many as that had hearts that moved them. And they brought bracelets and earrings and rings and tablets, even all jewels of gold and offerings. And everyone that offered an offering of gold unto Yahweh. And everyone with whom was found blue and purple and scarlet and fine linen and goat's hair and red skins of rams and badger skins brought them. Everyone that did offer an offering of silver and brass brought an offering for Yahweh. And everyone with whom was found shittim wood for any work of this service brought it. And all the women that were wise hearted did spin with their hands and brought that which they had spun, both of blue and of purple and of scarlet and of fine linen. And all the women whose hearts stirred them up in wisdom spun goat's hair. And the rulers brought onyx stones and stones to be set for the ephod and for the breastplate, and spice and oil for the light, and for the anointing oil, and for the sweet incense. The congregation of Israel brought a willing offering unto Yahweh, every man and every woman whose heart made them willing to bring for all manner of work, which Yahweh had commanded to be made by the hand of Moses. Chapter 36, the Master Mason. And it came to pass that Moses said unto Israel, See, Yahweh hath called by name Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah. And Yahweh hath filled him with the breath of Elohim in knowledge and in wisdom, giving him understanding in all manner of workmanship, to devise curious works, to work in gold and in silver and in brass, and in the cutting of stones, to set them, and in carving of wood, to make any manner of cunning work. And Yahweh hath put in his heart that he may teach both he and Aoliab, the son of Ahisamach of the tribe of Dan. These hath Yahweh filled with wisdom of heart to work all manner of work of the engraver, of the embroiderer, and of the cunning workman, in blue and in purple, in scarlet and in fine linen, and of the weaver, even of them that do any work, and of those that devise cunning work. And thus it was said that Bezaleel knew the means by which to join the heavens and the earth, for the Malachim had shown unto him how all things were created, and thus he was skilled in the crafts. And it came to pass that Bezaleel called upon Aholiab, and they upon every wise-hearted man in whom Yahweh put wisdom and understanding to know how to work all manner of work for the service of the sanctuary, according to all that Yahweh had instructed. And they received of Moses all the offering which Israel had brought for the work of the service of the sanctuary, to make it withal. And it came to pass that the people brought yet more free offerings continually, day after day, morning after morning. And all the wise men that wrought all the work of the sanctuary came, every one from their work which they made. And they spake unto Moses, saying, The people bring much more than enough for the service of the work, which Yahweh instructed to make. And Moses sent out a commandment, and they caused it to be proclaimed throughout the camp, saying, Let neither man nor woman make any more work for the offering of the sanctuary. And it came to pass that the people were restrained from bringing, for the stuff they had was sufficient for all the work to make it, and too much. And it came to pass that every wise-hearted person among them that wrought the work of the tabernacle made 10 curtains of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet, with cherubim of cunning work made they them. The curtains were all of one size, And they coupled the 5 curtains one with another, and the other 5 curtains they coupled one with another, and they made loops of blue on the edge of one curtain from the woven edge in the coupling. Likewise, they made in the uttermost side of another curtain in the coupling of the second. 50 loops made them in one curtain, and 50 loops made them in the edge of the curtain which was in the coupling of the second. The loops held one curtain to another, and they made 50 taches of gold and coupled the curtains one to another with the taches. So it became one tabernacle, and they made curtains of goat's hair for the tent over the tabernacle. 11 curtains they made them, and they made 50 loops upon the uttermost edges of the curtain in the coupling, and 50 loops made they upon the edge of the curtain which coupleth the second. And they made 50 taches of brass to couple the tent together, that it made one. And they made a covering for the tent of the skins of rams dyed red, and a covering of the skins of badgers above that. And they made boards of the tabernacle of shittim wood standing up. One board had 2 tenons equally distanced one from another. Thus did they make for all the boards of the tabernacle. And they made boards for the tabernacle, 20 boards for the south side, southward, 40 sockets of silver. They made under the 20 boards, 2 sockets under one board for his 2 tenons, and 2 sockets under another board for his 2 tenons. And for the other side of the tabernacle, which is toward the north corner, they made 20 boards, and there are 40 sockets of silver, 2 sockets under one board and 2 sockets under another board. And for the sides of the tabernacle westward, they made 6 boards, and 2 boards made they for the corners of the tabernacle in the 2 sides. And they were coupled beneath and coupled together at the head thereof to one ring. Thus they did to both of them in both the corners. And they were 8 boards, and their sockets were 16 sockets of silver, under every board 2 sockets. And they made boards of shittim wood, 5 for the boards of one side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the other side of the tabernacle, and 5 bars for the boards of the tabernacle for the sides westward. And they made the middle bar to shoot through the boards from one end to another. And they overlaid the boards with gold, and made their rings of gold to be placed for the bars, and overlaid the bars with gold. And they made a veil of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen, and with cherubim made they it of cunning work. And they made thereunto 4 pillars of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. Their hooks were made of gold, and they cast for them 4 sockets of silver. And they made a hanging for the tabernacle door of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen of needlework, and the 5 pillars of it with their hooks. And they overlapped the tops of the pillars and their fillets with gold, but their 5 sockets were of brass. Chapter 37, the Ark of the Covenant. And it came to pass that Bezaleel made the ark of shittim wood, and he overlaid it with pure gold within and without, and made a crown of gold to it round about. And Bezaleel cast for it 4 rings of gold to be set by the 4 corners of it, even 2 rings upon the one side of it, and 2 rings upon the other side of it. And Bezaleel made staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And he made the staves into the rings by the sides of the ark to bear the ark. And Bezaleel made the mercy seat of pure gold. And Bezaleel made 2 cherubims of gold, beaten out of one piece made he them on the 2 ends of the mercy seat, 1 male cherubim on the end on this side, and 1 female cherub on the other end at that side. Out of the mercy seat made he the cherubim on the 2 ends thereof. And the cherubim spread out their wings on high and covered with their wings over the mercy seat, face to face. They were intertwined in passion one to another. Even towards the mercy were the faces of the cherubim, their bosoms betwixt one another, even as two lovers in the marriage covenant. And this, that the presence could be felt with any of Israel that were worthy should gaze between the two, male and female, and that the voice should be heard by those that were worthy, should Israel gaze betwixt these two. And Bezaleel made the table of shittim wood, and he overlaid it with pure gold, and made thereunto a crown of gold round about. And also Bezaleel made thereunto a border of a handbreadth round about it, and made a crown of gold for the border thereof round about it. And Bezaleel cast for it 4 rings of gold, and put the rings upon the 4 corners that were on the 4 feet thereof, over against the border where the rings, and the places for the staves to bear the table. And Bezaleel made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold to bear the table. And he made the vessels which were upon the table, even the dishes and the spoons and the bowls and the covers to cover withal of pure gold. And Bezaleel made the candlestick of pure gold of beaten work. Made he the candlestick, his shaft and his branch, his bowls, his knops, and his flowers were of the same. The 6 branches going out of the sides thereof, 3 branches of the candlestick out of the one side, and 3 branches of the candlestick out of the other side thereof. 3 bowls made after the fashion of almonds in one branch, a knob and a flower, and 3 bowls made like almonds in another branch, a knob and a flower. So throughout the 6 branches going out of the candlestick, and in the candlestick were 4 bowls made like almonds, his knops and his flower, and a knop under 2 branches of the same, according to the 6 branches going out of it. And their knops and their branches were of the same. All of it was one beaten work of pure gold. And Bezaleel made 7 lamps, and their snuffers, and snuff dishes of pure gold, of a talent of pure gold made he it, and all the vessels thereof. And Bezaleel made the incense altar of shittim wood, and Bezaleel overlaid it with pure gold, both the top of it and the sides thereof round about, and the horns of it. Also he made unto it a crown of gold round about. And Bezaleel made 2 rings of gold for it under the crown, where therefore by the 2 corners of it upon the 2 sides thereof, to be places for the staves to bear it withal. And Bezaleel made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with gold. And Bezaleel made the holy anointing oil, and the pure incense of sweet spices, according to the work of the apothecary. And Bezaleel made the altar of burnt offerings of shittim wood, and Bezaleel made the horns thereof on the 4 corners of it. The horns thereof were of the same, and he overlaid it with brass. And Bezaleel made all of the vessels of the altar, even the pots and the shovels and the basins and the flesh hook and the fire pan, all the vessels thereof made he of brass. And Bezaleel made for the altar a brazen grate of network under the 4 corners thereof, from the base unto the midst of it. And Bezaleel cast 4 rings for the 4 ends of the grate of brass, to be places for the staves. And he made the staves of shittim wood, and overlaid them with brass. And Bezaleel made the staves into the rings on the sides of the altar to bear it withal. He made the altar hollow with boards. And Bezaleel made the laver of brass, and the foot of it of brass, and the looking glasses of the priestesses assembled, which assembled at the door of the tabernacle of the congregation. And Bezaleel made the court on the south side, southward, the hanging of the court were of fine twined linen, 100 cubits, and their pillars were 20, and their brazen sockets 20, and the hooks and the pillars and their fillets were of silver. And for the north side, their pillars were 20, and their sockets of brass 20, and the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the west side, their pillars 10, and their sockets 10, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver. And for the east side, the hangings of the one side of the gate were 15 cubits, their pillars 3, and their sockets 3. And for the other side of the court gate on this hand and that hand, their pillars were 3, and their sockets 3, and all the hangings of the court round about were of fine twined linen. And the sockets for the pillars were of brass, the hooks of the pillars and their fillets of silver, and the overlaying of their chapiters were silver, and all the pillars of the court were filleted with silver. And the hanging for the gate of the court was needlework of blue and purple and scarlet and fine twined linen. And their pillars were 4, and their sockets of brass 4, their hooks of silver, and the overlaying of their hooks and pillars were of silver, and all the pins of the tabernacle of the court round about were of brass. This is the sum of the tabernacle, and even of the tabernacle of testimony, as it was counted according to the commandment of Moses for the service of the Levites by the hand of Ithamar, son to Aaron and priest. And it came to pass that Bezaleel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, made all that Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And with Bezaleel was Aholiab, son of Ahisamach, of the tribe of Dan, an engraver and a cunning workman, and an embroiderer in blue and in purple and in scarlet and in fine linen. And Bezaleel did make the sockets to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and the brazen altar, and the brazen grate for it, and all the vessels of the altar, and the sockets of the court round about, and the sockets of the court gate, and all the pins of the tabernacle, and all the pins of the court round about. Chapter 38, the holy garments. And of the blue and purple and scarlet, they made clothes of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Aaron as Yahweh commanded Moses and Zipporah. And for the men, they made the ephod of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat the gold into thin plates, and cut it into wires to work it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine linen with cunning work. They made shoulder pieces for it to couple it together. By the 2 edges was it coupled together, and the curious girdle of his ephod that was upon it was of the same, according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as Yahweh commanded Moses and Zipporah. And they wrought onyx stones enclosed in ouches of gold, graven as signets are engraven with the names of the tribes of Israel. And they put them on the shoulders of the ephod, that they should be stones for a memorial to the congregation of Israel, as Yahweh commanded Moses and Zipporah. And they made the breastplate of cunning work, like the work of the ephod, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And it was 4 square. They made the breastplate double. A span was the length thereof, and a span the breadth thereof, being doubled. And they set it in 4 rows of stones. The first row was an odom for the tribe of Reuben, a pittah for the tribe of Simeon, and a baraket for the tribe of Levi. This was the first row. Go down to the, oh, it says the name of the stones. Okay, so a odom, carnelian, a pittah, chrysolite, a baraket, emerald. And the second row, a nephthek, which is a matachite for the tribe of Judah, and a sapphire for the tribe of Dan, and a Yeholim for the tribe of Naphtali, onyx. And the third row, a Lisham, which is amber. And for the tribe of Gad, a Shebo. And for the tribe of Asher, an Aklamah for the tribe of Issachar. And those two are agate and amethyst. And the fourth row, a Tarshish for the tribe of Zebulun, a Shoha for the tribe of Joseph, and a Yeshapha for the tribe of Benjamin. And those are lapis, beryl, and ruby. And these were enclosed in gold in their enclosings. And the stones were set according to the names of the tribes of Israel, 12 according to their names, like the engravings of a signet, every one with their name according to the 12 tribes. And they made upon the breastplate chains at the ends of wreathen work of pure gold. And they made 2 ouches of gold and 2 gold rings, and put the 2 rings on the 2 ends of the breastplate. And they put the 2 intertwined chains of gold in the 2 rings on the ends of the breastplate, and the 2 ends of the 2 intertwined chains they fastened in the 2 ouches and put them on the shoulder pieces of the ephod before it. And they made 2 rings of gold and put them on the 2 ends of the breastplates upon the border of it, which was on the side of the ephod inward. And they made 2 other golden rings and put them on the 2 sides of the ephod underneath toward the fore part of it, over against the other coupling thereof, above the curious girdle of the ephod. And they did bind the breastplate by its rings unto the rings of the ephod with a lace of blue, that it might be above the curious girdle of the ephod, and that the breastplate might not be loosed from the ephod, as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they made the robe of the ephod of woven work, all of blue, the color of heaven. And there was a hole in the midst of the robe, as the hole of a habergeon, with a band around about the hole, that it should not rend. So is this where they put their head? A strong and thickly woven garment covered with chainmail round the neck and breast. And they made upon the hem of the robe pomegranates of blue and purple and scarlet and twined linen. And they made bells of pure gold and put the bells between the pomegranates upon the hem of the robe, round about between the pomegranates, a bell and a pomegranate round about the hem of the robe, to minister in, even as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they made coats of fine linen of woven work for Aaron and for his sons, and a mitre of fine linen, and goodly turbans, or a headdress of fine linen, and linen girdles of fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like to the engravings of a signet, holiness to Yahweh. And they tied unto it a lace of blue to fasten it on high above the mitre, even as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And of the blue and purple and scarlet, they also made clothes of service to do service in the holy place, and made the holy garments for Miriam, as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they made for them the mitpahath of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen. And they did beat gold into thin plates and cut it into wires to put it in the blue, and in the purple, and in the scarlet, and in the fine twined linen with cunning work. And they made shoulder pieces for the midpahath, and which were joined to two of its corners for fastening it, and the curious girdle of her midpahath that was upon it was of the same, according to the work thereof, of gold, blue, and purple, and scarlet, and fine twined linen, as Yahweh commanded Moses and Zipporah. And they put them on the shoulders and on the Mitpahath for them a Urim and Thummim, that they should be stones for a memorial to the congregation of Israel, the faith of the daughters of Israel that needed no sign when Yahweh was ready to lead Israel from Egypt. And this was even as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. Mitpahath is some kind of veil or shawl that reached the forehead, from the forehead over the back of the head to the hips. And they also made the breastplate of gold using the work of a skilled craftsman with blue, purple, and scarlet yarn and finely spun linen. And the breastpiece was of a short span but wide, and they mounted on it one row of gemstones, and upon the one row was an odem, a pearl, and a zakim, even as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they made upon the midpahath thin chains at the ends of wreathen work of pure gold, and they bells upon the hem of the robe, a bell to minister in song and to dance and in libations, even as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they made coats of fine linen of woven works for Miriam and for her daughters, and goodly bonnets of fine twined linen, and linen dresses of fine twined linen, and a girdle of fine twined linen, and blue and purple and scarlet of needlework, as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they made the plate of the holy crown of pure gold, and wrote upon it a writing like to the engraving of a signet, holiness to Yahweh. And they tied unto it a lace of blue to fasten it on high upon the heads of Miriam and her daughters, as Yahweh commanded Moses and Zipporah. Chapter 29, Ordination. And it came to pass that all the work of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation was finished, and the congregation of Israel did according to all that Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah, so did they. And they brought the tabernacle unto Moses, the tent and all the furniture, the taches and the boards, the bars, the pillars and the sockets, and the coverings of the skins of rams dyed red, and the covering of the skin of badgers, and the veil of the covering, and the ark of the testimony, and the staves thereof, and the mercy seat, and the table, and all the vessels thereof, and the showbread, and the pure candlestick with the lamps thereof, even with the lamps to be set in order, and all the vessels thereof, and the oil for light, and the golden altar, and the anointing oil, and the sweet incense, and the hanging for the tabernacle door, and the brazen altar, and the grate of brass, the staves, and all the vessels, the laver and the base, and the hanging of the court, and the pillars, and the sockets, and the hanging of the court gate, the cords and pins, and all the vessels of the service of the tabernacle for the tent of the congregation, the clothes of service, to do the service in the holy place, and the holy garments of Aaron the priest, and the garments of his sons, to minister in the office of priest, and the holy garments of Miriam the priestess, and the garments of her daughters the priestesses. And all this was according to all that Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah, so that Israel made all the work. And Moses and Zipporah did look upon all the work And behold, the people had done it, even as Yahweh had instructed, even so had they done it. And Moses and Zipporah blessed them. And it came to pass that Yahweh spake unto Moses, saying, on the first day of the first month, thou shalt set up the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation, and thou shalt put therein the ark of the testimony, and cover the ark with the veil. And thou shalt bring in the table, and set in order the things that are to be set in order upon it. And thou shalt bring in the candlestick and the light, the lamps thereof, and thou shalt set the altar of gold for the incense before the ark of the testimony, and put the hanging of the door to the tabernacle. And thou shalt set the altar of burnt offerings before the door of the tabernacle of the tent of the congregation. And thou shalt set the laver between the tent for the congregation and the altar, and shalt put water therein. I guess that is to wash yourself, maybe your hands and stuff, as you come in. And thou shalt set up the court round about the hang up the hanging at the court gate. And thou shalt take the anointing oil and anoint the tabernacle and all that is therein, and shalt hallow it, and all the vessels thereof, and it shall be holy. And thou shalt anoint the altar of the burnt offering and all his vessels, and sanctify the altar, and it shall be an altar most holy. Thou shalt anoint the lever and his foot, and sanctify it. And thou shalt bring Aaron and his sons to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them with water. And Zipporah, thy wife, shalt bring Marion and her daughters to the door of the tabernacle of the congregation, and wash them too with water. And thou shalt put upon Aaron the holy garments, and anoint him, and sanctify him, that he may minister unto me in the office of priest. And Zipporah shall put upon Miriam the holy garments, and anoint her, and sanctify her, that she may minister unto me in the office of priestess. And thou, Moses, shalt bring the sons of Aaron, and clothe them with their robes and garments. And Zipporah shall bring the daughters of Miriam, and clothe them in their robes and garments. And thou shalt anoint the sons as thou didst anoint their father, that they may minister unto me in the office of priest. And Zipporah shall anoint the daughters as she didst anoint their mother, and their anointing shall surely be an everlasting priesthood throughout their generations. But thou shalt not anoint them, nor shalt thou ordain them, as thou and Zipporah after the order of Enoch. But they that are worthy shall I send to one in that generation that should ordain them. And thus did Moses and Zipporah, according to all that Yahweh commanded them, so did they. I'm a little confused as to which group is anointed for all generations and which group has to go find someone in their generation. Other books I've read, it's the women who have it for all generations, but I could be getting confused. Sorry. Verse 31. And thus did Moses and Zipporah, according to all that Yahweh commanded them, so did they. And it came to pass in the first month, in the second year, on the first day of the month, that the tabernacle was reared up, and Moses reared up the tabernacle, and fastened the sockets, and set the boards thereof, and put in the bars thereof, and reared up the pillars. And they spread abroad the tent over the tabernacle, and put the covering of the tent above it, even as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they took and put the book of the testimony into the ark, and set the staves on the ark, and put the mercy seat above upon the ark. And they brought the ark into the tabernacle, and set up the veil of the covering, and covered the ark of the book of testimony, even as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they put the table in the tent of the congregation upon the side of the tabernacle northward, without the veil, and they set the bread in order upon it, before Yahweh, even as Yahweh had commanded Moses and Zipporah, and they put the candlestick in the tent of the congregation over against the table on the side of the tabernacle southward. And they lighted the lamps before Yahweh, even as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah. And they put the golden altar in the tent of the congregation before the veil. And Moses and Zipporah did burn sweet incense thereon, as Yahweh instructed them. And they set up the hanging in the door of the tabernacle. And he put the altar of burnt offerings by the door of the tabernacle tent of the congregation, and offered upon it the burnt offerings and the meat offerings as Yahweh instructed. Okay, I'm going to read the footnotes. In verse 39, it says, implying that there would be people outside of Israel with the high priesthood, or that those worthy will be ordained by angels if there are none with the keys to the high priesthood in Israel. And they set the basin between the tent of the congregation and the altar, and put water there to wash withal. And it came to pass that Moses and Zipporah and Aaron and his sons and Miriam and her daughters washed their hands and their feet thereat, when they went into the tent of the congregation, and when they came near unto the altar, they washed as Yahweh instructed Moses and Zipporah, and they reared up the court round about the tabernacle and the altar, and set up the hangings of the court gate. And Moses and Zipporah finished the work, and it came to pass that a cloud covered the tent of the congregation, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle. And Moses and Zipporah were not able to enter into the tent of the congregation, for the cloud abode thereon, and the glory of Yahweh filled the tabernacle. And when the cloud was taken up from above the tabernacle, the congregation of Israel went onward in all their journeying. But if the cloud were not taken up, then they journeyed not till the day that it was taken up. For the cloud of Yahweh was upon the tabernacle by day, and fire was on it by night, in the sight of all the house of Israel throughout all their journeying. Wow, it's interesting. Footnote: the washing of the body is symbol of spiritual cleansing to help one draw closer to God. Here downs for those that will perform the duty of reconciliation between Israel and God. All right, chapter 40, the offerings of Aaron. And it came to pass that on the 8th day of the first month of the second year from the time Israel did leave Egypt, that Moses called Aaron and his sons and the elders of Israel. And he said unto Aaron, take thee a calf for a sin offering, and a ram for a burnt offering without blemish, and offer them before Yahweh. And unto the congregation of Israel thou shalt speak, saying, take ye a kid of the goats for a sin offering, and a calf and a lamb, both of the first year, without blemish, for a burnt offering. Also a bullock and a ram for peace offering to sacrifice before Yahweh, and a meat offering mingled with oil. For today Yahweh will appear unto you. And it came to pass that they brought that which had Moses instructed before the tabernacle of the congregation, and all the congregation drew near and stood before Yahweh. And Moses said, this is the thing which Yahweh instructed that ye should do, and today Yahweh should appear unto you. And Moses said unto Aaron, go unto the altar and offer thy sin offering and thy burnt offering, and make an atonement for thyself and for the people, and offer the offering of the people, and make an atonement for them as Yahweh required. Aaron therefore went unto the altar and slew the calf of the sin offering, which was for himself. And the sons of Aaron brought the blood unto him, and he dipped his finger in the blood and put it upon the horns of the altar, and poured out the blood at the bottom of the altar. But the fat and the kidneys and the caul above the liver of the sin offering he burnt upon the altar as Yahweh instructed Moses. And the flesh and the hide he burnt with fire without the camp. And Aaron slew the burnt offering, and the sons of Aaron presented unto him the blood, which he sprinkled round about the altar. And they presented the offerings unto him with the pieces thereof and the head, and he burnt them upon the altar. And Aaron did wash the innards and the legs and burnt them upon the burnt offering on the altar. And it came to pass that Aaron brought the people offering and took the goat, which was the sin offering for the people, and slew it and offered it for sin as the first, and brought the burnt offering and offered it according to the manner. And Aaron brought the meat offering and took a handful thereof and burnt it upon the altar beside the burnt offering of the morning. And Aaron slew also the bullock and the ram for a sacrifice of peace offering, which was for the people. And the sons of Aaron presented unto him the blood, which he sprinkled upon the altar round about. And the fat of the bullock and the ram, of the ram and the rump and that which covered the innards and the kidneys and the caul above the liver. And they put the fat upon the breast, and he burnt the fat upon the altar, and the breast and the right shoulder Aaron waved for a wave offering before Yahweh as Moses instructed. And Aaron lifted up his hand toward the people and blessed them, and came down from offering of the sin offering and the peace offering and the other offerings. And it came to pass that Moses and Aaron went into the tabernacle of the congregation and came out and blessed the people and did give them meat to eat from the offerings. And the glory of Yahweh appeared unto all the people. And Miriam and her daughters did lead the congregation in song and in dance before Yahweh and Elohim of Israel. And then there came a fire out from before Yahweh and consumed the fat and all that was left that could not be eaten upon the altar. And when all the people saw this, they shouted and fell on their faces and did worship their Elohim. Chapter 41, the sins of the Levites. And then the voice of Yahweh spoke unto Aaron, saying, Do not drink wine, nor strong drink, thou nor thy sons with thee, when ye go into the tabernacle of the congregation, or thou shalt be at risk of death. And this shall be a statute forever throughout your generations, that ye may put difference between holy and unholy, and between clean and unclean, and that ye may teach my children Israel all the statutes which Yahweh hath spoken unto them by the hand of Moses. And it came to pass that Moses spake unto Aaron and unto his sons Eleazar and Ithamar, Take the meat offering that remaineth of the offerings of Yahweh made by fire, and eat it without leaven beside the altar, for it is most holy, and none shall be wasted. And ye shall eat it in the holy place, because it is thy due, and thy sons' due of the sacrifices of Yahweh made by fire, for so I am instructed. And the wave, breast, and heave shoulders shall ye eat in a clean place, thou and thy wives, and thy sons and thy daughters with thee, for they be thy due, and thy sons' due, which are given out of the sacrifices of peace offerings of the congregation of Israel. The heave shoulder and the wave breast shall they bring with the offerings made by fire of the fat, to wave it for a wave offering before Yahweh. And it shall be thine, and thy sons and thy wives and thy daughters with thee by a statute forever, as Yahweh hath instructed. And Moses diligently sought the goat of the sin offering, and behold, it was burnt up and could not be eaten. And Moses was angry with Eleazar and Ithamar, the sons of Aaron, saying, Wherefore have ye not eaten the sin offering in the holy place, seeing it is most holy? And Elohim hath given it to you to bear the iniquity of the congregation, to make atonement for them before Yahweh. Behold, the blood of it was not brought in within the holy place. Ye should indeed have eaten it in the holy place, as I commanded. And Aaron said unto Moses, Behold, this day have they offered their sin offering and their offerings before Yahweh, and I too have sinned with them. For if I had eaten the sin offering today, should it have been accepted in the sight of Yahweh? And when Moses heard this explanation, though he knew it would have been acceptable, he was content. I am going to stop there. Thank you for joining me on Prophets of Babel, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.